all. I, the chairman of Prajna Foundation, Dr. Mahesh Arvin, welcome you all for Prerana Talk of the Week. Today's talk is on steps to pursue research overseas, especially for those who wish to continue higher studies or research abroad. And the speaker of the day is Mr. Varadaraj, a research scholar of Indiana Polis University, US. He will be sharing his insights on his academic path from his undergraduation, B.Sc, to his doctoral studies, Ph.D. at abroad. On behalf of Prajna Foundation, I welcome him. I welcome you, Varadaraj, for the talk.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I like to introduce him to the audience. And it's my privilege, proud also, since he was my student in his undergraduation. I'm proud to say that he was my student at Vijay College during his B.Sc studies. After his B.Sc graduation, he joined Nrupatunga University of Bangalore to pursue his post-graduation studies in organic chemistry. After his PG studies, he worked as assistant professor of chemistry for a short period and moved to US for doctoral studies. Now he is a research scholar at Indiana Polis University. I request him to share his experiences with respect to his journey from undergraduation to the present study at US. I'm sure he will be, this talk itself will be a motivation to others and will serve as a guidance for those who wish to go for higher studies or research at abroad. So with this brief introduction, I welcome him again and over to Varadaraj for the talk.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction and giving the opportunity to present here. It's one of the great platform to just pass on the information from like next level juniors to get into the platform of overseas PhD. So I'm gonna just share my screen. Good evening, all. Already, sir mentioned about this topic, PhD studies in overseas. I'm current first almost I'm done with my first year PhD in Indiana University, Indianapolis, in Dr. Nicholas Manikey's lab in the like analytical chemistry. So we are doing mass spectrometry and their enhancement of ionization technique. So the PhD studies in horses is feel like one of the hardest thing to do when you're sitting back in India. But once you went to like any countries like US, Germany, otherwise Netherlands, then like Switzerland, you adjusted to those conditions. So unlike academia over there, it feels easy because people from the very different parts of the world coming to the countries and studying their PhD here. So in this talk, I'm gonna discuss about general requirements like degree requirement, English proficiency exam requirements, otherwise any other language requirements for the respective countries. Then what are the preparations like how to prepare your resume, otherwise CV. So statement of purpose is plays one of the huge role in getting into the university. Then letter of recommendation, transcript and GRE. These are the exams and like scoring type things. Then another thing is you need to shortlist your universities according to your profile. Then you need to do the application process, then visa process. Then you get into the US, others, any abroad countries. So, what are the degree requirements? Generally, any PhD over like any country requires minimum 16 years of education. What do you mean by 16 years of education? 1 to 10 standard is 10 years, plus 2 years intermediate, otherwise PUC. You can take this 12 years. 3 years degree plus 2 years master's, otherwise 4 years honors degree. For an example, to take an example like Sri Lankan countries, they will give 4 years honors degree, that becomes 16 years. Otherwise, US degree is also bachelor's, 4 years degree, that's 16 years. No need to take a master's when you have a 4 years of degree. You have only 3 years of bachelor degree, you need 2 years master's. If in case you have a 2 years master's, there is a chance of you can transfer your credits to your coursework. I can talk that later. It's not a big deal now. So 60 years of education is one of the compulsory thing to apply to the PhD. If you stay not only the US, Canada, UK, or Germany, Switzerland, any European countries also. So next one is Master of Science. GPA should be 7.5 is above 3. So generally, the top universities, otherwise the mid-range universities, always invite the GPA above 3 in the application process. So only like the universities which are low rank, probably GPA like 7, significant GPA 70%, GPA 2.75. So you can't get a more good universities in that range. To get into PhD in at least good range university, you should have your 20% in the masters. That is like equal to GPA we are above in the US, otherwise the GPA is get. For the B.Sc, CGPA 7.5, same thing regards B.Sc. And also another thing, B.Sc you studied which subject is not gonna matter that much. You have a master's in the respective subject. And also you can change your area. For an example, I done my master's in organic chemistry, but currently I'm doing analytical chemistry PhD. You can change your area depending upon the professor and also depending upon your interest. So from this slide, the very important thing, have a 16 years of education and maintaining the master's and bachelor's CGPA above 7, like GPA or CGPA like 75% or above 3. Maintaining above 70% is very, very important when you are getting into good university. So next one is English proficiency exam. So we know that we are still like our mode of education in English, but still the way of teaching in English, but we are not the properly English speaking country. That's why when you apply to any abroad countries for PhD, like in US, otherwise UK, Canada, the English proficiency exam is very much required. So there are different exams like TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo. So these are the exams. Generally, TOEFL score 79 to 80 is expectable range, but it is good to have a 100, more than 100 out of 120. These all exams in the range of listening, speaking, writing, and reading. These are the four sections generally you have in the exam. So in the TOEFL, you're gonna write the exam for the 120 points or 120 marks. 79 is the expectable score, but it's better to have 100 to getting into the higher level universities. In the PhD, generally they look at your speaking score because like that's very important. So that's the exam. 1.5 is the expectable score all over the US, otherwise Canada, in the European countries. But it's better to have a 7 in speaking and 7.5 in the speaking. 7 more than 7 is better score in the IELTS, according to me, because more number of
கேட்கவே அப்படியே
universities look
பயங்கரமா
at the
இருக்கு
7
தம்பி.
score in IELTS.
இந்த பாட்டை எப்படி
Then
நீங்க
next,
சூஸ் பண்ணி இப்படி
Duolingo
பாருங்க. நான்
score.
இது
Duolingo
வரைக்கும்
is
நம்ம
like
டிவியில
not a
ஃபோன்ல
well-known exam for English proficiency. So many universities not prefer this one, but after the COVID, like you need to take the online exam. That's why so many fellows went on to take Duolingo. In some universities, still Duolingo is acceptable. exam. So these are about proficiency. English proficiency exam is very, very important criteria to get into the any overseas universities. And in addition to this, for an example, looking at the Germany, Germany have their own language, German language, A1, A2, B1, B2, like their schedules. Generally, I think you can A2 or B1 certificate is enough to getting into PhD in Germany for their own national language. So, and also, if in case you want to learn any like German language in Bangalore, there are so many consultancies. You can just Google it and get their information, go and learn the certificate, get certificate. So next thing is resume and CV. Resume and CV plays like 10% or 10% or 15% role to get this candidate pick in the PhD. What are things you need to mention in your resume? Educational background is one of the very, very important thing you need to mention. What course you studied, for an example, CBZ, CZBT, PCM, BCGMB in a bachelor's, or what course you studied, organic chemistry, analytical chemistry, physical chemistry in master's, which year and your university's name. These are the very, very important thing. Then what CGPA you scored, then research project. Now that we are in the like main flats chemical reactions. So and also the professor maybe like look at your research project, maybe these students fit my group, otherwise not. They're gonna decide based on that, based on your research experience. And also if in case you have a time before getting into PhD or in between your masters, go to industries, take a 1 month internship. Just like that's a very, very important thing. There is a huge difference between academia and industry in the India. There is no that much gap between industry and academia in the US. So that's why go to industries and take experience and training on the instruments like NMR, IR, UV, mass spectrometry, otherwise any microscopy techniques, otherwise how to deal with the different reagent solution. That's very, very important. Then skills, what are the different skills you have? Coding skills, otherwise skills with any social, any chemistry platforms, you can update that. Publication and conference and achievements. I think why publication plays a huge role, according to me. If in case you have one or two publication, professors feel like you know how to write a research paper. That's one of the like main goal behind this. You don't know how to write a research paper, somewhere you stuck behind. So that's why I think you know how to write a research paper, how to select a paper of that background, how to cite that one, how to make conclusion out of it, research methodologies. So this publication indicates you know how to write a paper. That's it. That's why people look for publication irrespective of which journal you published. So these, like for an example, you are applying to Germany, the Netherlands, Switzerland, European countries, also US. If in case you publish in elsewhere also, people are not gonna worry about that. Because for an example, lab like currently for the lab I'm working, we morely focused on the paper like ACS, otherwise JAX and Angle. That's why I'm telling this publication indicates the main thing you know how to write a paper. Don't worry about the top publishing top most journal, just publish in the UGC norm journals. That's enough. So then statement of purpose. This plays, I think, according to me, this plays like 20% role in your application process. This the like letter that indicates your whole scenario behind your life, otherwise your research. So in statement of purpose is more lengthy, about like 1,000 to like 800 to 1,000 word, otherwise 1.5 page. So in that one, you're gonna explain about your academic background and like your preparation, why you're interested to PhD in the respective subject, otherwise like chemistry, physics, computer science, anything you want. Then research experience. What research experience you brings onto the table in that field? Like for an example, in biology, you're doing genomics, otherwise in chemistry, you can do organic synthesis. Otherwise, in computer science, you can do better coding. That what thing you can bring onto the table, what research experience you already know, what techniques you already, that's important. Then Search for the professors, those who have a similar interest, like similar interest, this interest, which aligns with you. Otherwise, which professor you are interested in, which professor in research is very good to do, you need to search for those professors, and you need to like connect your research ideas to their research ideas in your SOP. So then specific interest and goals, and you need to mention some points about what are the motivations to getting into PhD and what are the futuristic goals after this PhD, everything. Then you need to like explain first your personal qualities and why you are fitting into this academia that was doing PhD. This statement of purpose, for an example, while you are applying to any abroad university or these universities, people don't know you. For an example, they don't know your face also, they don't know your like academic background, anything else. You need to explain yourself. Like this, like presenting in front of a interviewer. Like that's why statement of purpose plays a huge role. And according to me, one of the most important thing, connecting your research to the university professor research. That's like one of the important things to do. So then next, letter of recommendation. You need to collect three letter of recommendation, major almost like to all the US universities, like two letter of recommendation for the Germany, otherwise European universities. Generally, it is in between two and three. So generally, I gonna say, for an example, you done masters and you're working, take one from your like master, one of the professor you know really well, and one from your working place. They need to explain about your like what research you have and like how much experience you have in the things and how well known you in the terms of like, for an example, in a class there are like 40 students in a master's, how you outgroup those 40 students, like those things you need to, they need to explain this like in the letter of recommendation. For an example, you apply to 15 universities and they need to send letter of recommendation for those all 15 universities separately. University gonna send a mail to them. They need to reply back to that mail. That's why you need to select the professor as any manager in your like working place who is very good with you. Have patience to reply for those 15 mails and give a time for you. Because this letter of recommendation from like three letter of recommendation, two letter of recommendation also plays a like 10% role in your like application to like, for an example, this like half of your SOP, this thing also tell, like this thing also present what you've done before, like how you in terms of your process, otherwise in terms of your employer manager. So select the individuals you know very well, and also select the top individuals who have a like good contact in the different countries also may be helpful. For an example, I know like some of the examples. For an example, you're taking a letter of recommendation with a well-known professor in any IITs, otherwise IASC. Each student is like someone is already working in some group. Probably those professor know that professor name. It's easy to pick for them. Yeah, okay, this student from this professor lab probably know how to work in this particular lab. So that's why getting a good letter of recommendation is also important. So then one next one is transcript and GRE. I think this is the GRE is not a huge part. GRE is not playing a huge part now, but transcript is one of the most important thing according to me. So transcript is a like original mass card. It's contain every paper you studied, that was every course you studied with GPA or CGPA indication, a single sheet. So probably, for an example, I paid around like 1,500 rupees in Padanga University to get this one. In Bangalore University, the SPC gonna be like 800. You need to go to your respective universities. You need to apply for the transcript. You need to get after like 20 days. That depends. You need to like 20 days, 15 days. But you need to upload your transcript as your mass card, not your any degree, mass card, degree certificate. Your transcript is your mass card to getting into US universities. But another one thing I need to mention, for a Germany application process, you need to send your transcript to Delhi for verification. Then a seal one barcode, then send it to you. That's very important. You need to do that one for Germany, only Germany in European countries. Other countries is like for your transcript. So then next, graduate record examination. Currently, this optional all over the world after this COVID hits. But if in case you have a graduate record examination GRE score above like 300, that's like push 5% for your application, I think, because it's not currently the big deal. No universities looking at the GRE scores. Some universities just write GRE is optional for your application. I feel if in case you have a like better exposure of vocabulary, English, and mathematics calculation, you can take this GRE exam that's cost around like 20,000, 20 to 21,000 Indian rupees. You can take that exam like 1 or 2 months preparation. You just search it in the Google GRE graduate record examination. You can find it out like some test. If in case you took that exam, scores above 300 to 320, that's helpful to like maybe push your application to higher level universities. But in current scenario, I don't know how much it's gonna helpful for you because GRE is option. But it's better to have if in case you have a time. So then there's one of the important things, shortlisting the universities. People, so many like Indian students, like after like these all days, they're gonna call me and ask how many universities should I apply. You really know I applied to 22 universities. People may say, how you applied to 22 universities with those applications because I'm gonna give the idea for that. So according to me, you need to apply minimum 10 universities. In that one, three should be ambitious, four should be target, three should be safe. What is this ambitious target and shape? This not it, I think I just mentioned the QS ranking for safer side. You need to apply to like department, what department you're looking at, and also it depends on the mm, like your profile. Your profile, for an example, I have a profile like this. My for one student, ex-student, I have one internship in uh, one of the good professor in IIT, 8.5 or 9 CGPA in the both the masters and bachelors, 1 year industry experience. So like I'd score like 7.5 GRE with 320. They can apply to like every universities above 500 plus ranking, one or two universities below that. That these shortlisting universities depends on your profile and also depends on your which department you're looking at. For an example, I'm gonna give the examples for that. I'm in Indianapolis University, like IUI. IUI Department of Chemistry is lies in the target university, in the ballpark of, I think our university rank is like 600 something. And the national university is like is 175 in the US. But if in case IU Med School, same university IU Med School, any departments in IU Med School is in the rank of like above 25 in the US. It is very hard to get into IU Med School compared to Department of Chemistry in IUI. That these depends on your profile and which department you're applying. So, and how you can apply to the more universities, one is by getting the application fees waiver. How to get application fees waiver? I can explain that one later. Then this one, application process. Initiating the application, you need to create a login ID, password, then proper background information. You need to fill your name, your full address, father name, mother name, your background, which country, race, everything you need to fill. Then uploading the documents, your IELTS score, GRE score, your transcript, your education background, working background, your internship certificate, publications, then application fees. This is the main. Generally, like there is a minimum $75 application fees in the US. Like I think 50 euros in any European countries, depending upon the which university you're applying, 50 to 100. So there is a chance of you can get application fees. How you can get this one? So first thing, generally the all overseas university starts PhD application in a like for fall semester more. Fall semester means August in US, September in European countries, otherwise UK. Means 1 year before. Means in US, September 15th is starting day for application. They ends by December 15th. So in like Germany, like October to January and February, they give application fees waiver in the initial days. You need to mail the universities or respective department. Hey, I'm so and so. I'm very hard to fees the application fees. Can I get any application fees waiver? Kindly respond regarding this request like that. You need to mail the department or graduate school. They're gonna reply you back if in case they have any application fees waiver. And with a barcode, otherwise with a code, coupon code, you can get the application fees waiver. I applied to 22 universities. I only paid application fees for two. Nearly like 12 to 13 university application fees waiver. Other universities have a, like if in case you select, you can you pay the application fees, or which department take care of something like that. Okay, it's like that. So in application process, be careful about uploading your documents properly. Then apply minimum 10 universities and try to get application fees waiver before starting your application by mailing to respective department. So next, financial assistantship and tuition fees. The one of the best thing about PhD in overseas for any international student, it is almost 95%. What do you mean by that 5%? So you need to pay some state nominal fees that are gonna get it back to you by tax filing, otherwise in the year end. That depends on universities to universities. You need to pay, for an example, I'm paying like $1,500 for every year, but I get money back by with the different ways like printing money. Otherwise, I can fight this money to tax. I can get back like that. You're not much worried about that one. So tuition almost like 1995 to 96% of universities provide tuition free. There is no fees to them. It is completely free, free, free. Okay. So next, financial assistantship is varies from $24,000 to $38,000 in the US. That depends on location, which university you're studying in, which department. In Germany, it varies from 25,000 German euros to like 29,000. Switzerland is paying much, I think 35,000 uh, Swiss money. It depends on country, location, and also the cost of living of that location and also department. But I feel it is like okay to have that amount of money. At least you can save something by end of the month. So you need to work as a teaching assistant for a first year. Generally, every university takes PhD students are teaching assistant for a first 1 year. Then you can move to graduate assistantship. Means you can be a research assistant or research associate under your professor. The professor pay for you from the research grants. That's like 20 hours per week. Actually, you're working 40 hours, but that gonna record as a 20 hours per week because you're completely funded. So tuition fees, that's again, I mentioned that one year ago. It depends on university. The maximum you're gonna pay is like 5% out of all the fees that you can get by the tax while you're filing the taxes. That's about financial assistantship and tuition fees. So next, visa process. I know visa process thing for US, but I don't know about visa process for Germany. But people, I know friends in Germany, I know friends in Sweden, some part of Europe, Netherlands, and South Korea. People say getting visa is very much easy compared to US in the current situations. So once admission offer is done from the department, your process will go to international admission office. Then international admission office ask for some other documents if in case they have doubts on anything. Then they're gonna release one I-20, otherwise one student number. That is one of the letter you're gonna use in your visa process. In here it is called service ID, I-20 service ID, I-20 which can service ID. And also you need to for US you need to fill DS-160 with your service ID, and you need to pay US visa process fees of interview fees of like nearly 17 to 18,000. And then service ID of 30,000 rupees. So these are the general visa process, but that varies from your like countries to country. I think you're gonna pay around like 10,000 rupees for the Germany and like 13,000 rupees for the Switzerland and 8,000 rupees for the South Korea, I feel. And UK is almost about 15,000 same. You know to pay some amount for the visa interview, then like service ID. That's like one of the norms here to get a visa. So visa process is the one of the hardest phase actually for in the current situation. You need to go there, they then ask some questions. But compared to master students, getting a visa for PhD is very much easy because it is completely funded course. After all scrutiny, only the department offer you admission. So then next, a research life. How research life goes. So you're already away from home. You need to take care of your own things, new place, new culture, new location, new academic goals. So you need to first like select your proper area of studies to start your coursework to take like that coursework varies from university department to department. Like for an example, 90 credits overall PhD, they take 30 credits of coursework, 20 credits of coursework. If in case you have masters back in your own country, like in India, you can transfer like minimum 6 credits in our department. Those in any schools that depends on your professor. So means you can cut down your 6 months of your PhD. It varies from lab to lab, otherwise department to department. Generally, every first year students goes for TE assistantship in first year. That's general norm of the any departments. Then lab rotation process, otherwise professional selection. This is one of the very, very important thing I need to mention to you guys. Lab rotation. So generally in first year, you don't know, you selected your area, you don't know which PA you go. So you have a dilemma whether I need to take this student or not. So in this process, you go for lab rotation, 3 months in on lab, 3 months in on lab, 3 months in on lab. By end of first year PhD, you're gonna get your lab. But all depends on universities. In our university, they're gonna give professor gonna give talk, then they're gonna interview. And if in case your professor and your this is interest match, you can go to that lab and start to work there. But if in case in the midway of first year you feel you're not getting anything, you can change your lab at probably one time. That's like it's hard being the first year PhD students. You need to take care of your coursework, go for classes. Then you need to take classes for the bachelor students as TA. Then you go for lab. You need to learn that lab culture, being well with the different people over here, like people from different countries, and you need to learn the instrumentation. There is huge gap between the Indian research instrumentation and US research instrumentation. I say I'm seriously telling that I don't even know what is mass spectrometry. Like when I came here, they like say we are doing pepper spray. I feel like this is pepper spray. Then I can get to know they are doing paper spray. So then I started like learning from my seniors. That's like quite challenging phase for you. You need to like mingle with them, people from different countries, different religion, different thought process. It's very hard, but you need to survive. That's what like Darwinism theory says, survival of the fittest. That's what I'm gonna mention. You need to learn from the different to be there. I think in the first year also you need to write some qualifying exams that varies from department to department. Some department gives five, you need to pass three. But that is based on your area. I think those who done masters is not a big deal to clear your qualifying exams. Then candidacy exam and OP. In India also in PhD, you need to done your candidacy exam by end of second year. Here also in the any US universities or any German universities, you need to done your candidacy exam or OP prelims. So that if in case you fail in that exam, some universities offer a like master's thesis. Some universities go for again second exam. So that depends on your research committee and your and also your professor. the candidacy exam. Then research and publication according to our professor criteria. Different professors, different lab or different research guidelines. Some professor expect you to have a 5 papers from before your thesis defines. Some professor expect you three. That depends. That varies from professor to professor and lab to lab. Then finally, thesis defines probably takes around like 4.5 years to 5 years or 5.5 years. That depends on your all 5 years journey. Then cost of living, actually one of the most important thing I need to mention. The relationship is enough to live this sustainable life here, according to me. It's like, for an example, I'm getting around like $26,000 per year after taxes, around like $23,000, but I can get back my taxes. So I'm gonna spend around like $8 to $10,000. I can save up to 13,000 to $14,000 per year, maybe 10 lakhs Indian rupees every year. And also, once, for an example, some lab pushes you to do internships. That depends on your professor. That's what I'm important. The bonding, the gel between you and your professor is one of the very much important thing. Selecting your soulmate is selecting your wife or selecting your husband is how much important in your life. Selecting your PA is also that much important because that 5 years of arrange like circumstance depends on him, others. Uh, so that's why the gel between you and your professor should be good. Some professor maybe like push you to do internships in summer, so you can go to internships like companies like Thermo, Agilent, BMS, Medrix, Waters, Brewers, the MNC Eli Lilly, Potreva, like some top international MNCs, the field of science. You can earn good amount of money over there. So that depends. And also, like I think cost of living maybe like cost around like 30 to 50%. And also, this depends on which area you're living, like location. For an example, cost of living in New York is much than cost of living here. I'm here. Like that depends on city, what location you're in, and like the way you're gonna live your life. That's also depends. But in my experience, and also I generally talk to any seniors over here, you can save up to some good amount of money by end of the month or this end of the year. So that's the one thing. And opportunity to have a PhD. Getting into postdoc to stay in future academics as a professor is one of the huge thing. Like getting into higher universities in your research area, then industry jobs in US, like after you once your PhD done, 3 months in 3 years industry job in the OPT CPT visa, then government related research jobs back in India. Otherwise, in that country you have done your PhD, you can go to government researchers like Navy, Air Force, otherwise things like that. But you need to be more like profiling or you to be more stripe, like very good at your research to getting into those platforms. I think once you're done with your PhD, generally people if they can't find any industry jobs, go for postdocs. But those who wants to stay in academia, they definitely require one or two postdocs in higher level universities, top universities with very good publications. So then conclusions, it may take to 4 to 5 years. Then coursework may be different from 20 to 30 credits, research 70 to 60 credits. Then qualifying exams, then original proposal, then summer internship, one of the main thing you can do, and earn some good amount of money. I think that's it. If in case I have any question regarding anything, you can ask me. I'm happy to answer. So and otherwise, I'm gonna mention the mail ID, my mail ID just in this YouTube video below this. You can mail me and ask any questions regarding anything. I'm happy to getting back to you guys. So thank you for this great opportunity. Again, thank you, sir. This from my end.
So, any questions from the audience? So, I have few questions, Varadaraj.
Yeah, sir.
When did you decide to go for research? What was the motivation behind?
Mm, so I done my bachelor's in like CZBT. You are one of the most like I can say you are one of the inspiration out of that. Then I moved to masters. I look at the opportunities after what after masters. Like you have opportunities like go for teaching, otherwise go for industry. Whatever industry pay scale maybe like 3 to 5 lakhs, I think. Or like there is no that much future in teaching if in case you stayed in any privatization companies. So it is very hard to be there. That's why I decided to move, like do PhD. That takes like big moment. Then I think, yeah, I can survive in PhD because like I worked 1 or 2 projects in masters, like one of the like one nanoparticle synthesis and one extraction. We done something. I feel like okay, I can survive in the research. And also my main goal to getting into academia after PhD. Anyways, I gonna teach and be in the research after that also. That's why it's like it's come from the professor like you around us, you and like Suma Madam in Nupunda University, Dr. Ramakrishna Reddy, and like for an example, Radhika Madam in Vijaya College. So people like you inspire us to do like more to go towards subject, and also we are get for the life we need to go into getting into better opportunities in a different phase.
What made you to select Indianapolis University? Why it is in US especially?
So I didn't get the opportunities in US. The PhD is different. So first I thought of getting into Germany, but in Germany the application process is like this. For example, you being a professor, you're gonna write on grant to the university. So once that grant is done by the government of the university, you're gonna get funds. You're gonna post like I need 2 students who gonna do this topic PhD. This topic specific. There is no selection for you. So you're gonna select on that topic only. There is no space for changing your area, change your topic in Germany. That's the one thing. And like I contact so many seniors, others, fellows who are there. There is so much like people treating you differently. You are coming as an international student. So then I get some good seniors over in the US, like those who done postdocs. So that's I feel US is a better place to go for PhD. Then apply to so many universities. I get in like when University of St. Louis, IU, Indianapolis, Indiana University, Indianapolis, then Oklahoma University in late part of my application process, like in the May month. At the time, I'm already in the visa process. Then I get in the Wayne State University, I think. So
What the,
I
yeah.
decided to I decided to get into this universities because the research is good. The professor I'm doing is one of the best professor in terms of mass spectrometry. That's why I'm happy to stay in IUI.
Oh, Gagan, come on. Gagan, you can raise it.
Again, you can unmute and ask.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, you can raise the question.
Yes, sir. Wonderful talk by Varda, sir. So, I just wanted to ask regarding what you call the experience, the industrial or teaching experience, and the research papers as such. What weightage does it carry for applying for a PhD at foreign universities?
That's what I'm mentioning. Your research papers say whether you have an idea about writing a research paper or not. Because these people here, they don't believe in our publication. That's why I'm telling you that irrespective in elsewhere, any scale journals, it okay. That's indicate you know how to write the paper. That's very important thing for them. You know how to cite the paper. You know how to cite the paper from the research area, read them, and then how to cite that those papers in your research, like while writing your manuscript. That's important. Research paper indicate your publication indicate you know how to write. Then industry experience was internships. For an example, you need to do organic PhD, organic chemistry. If in case you worked in any R&D departments, there was NMR, you know IR, you know how to do UV, you know how to do TLC, chromatography techniques. This indicates you know basic instrumentation skills to do the PhD in respective field. It is very hard to professor come up to you and teach the skills. These professors don't have a time to spend hours together with you. Okay, that's why the professor always before selecting whether these fellow knows these instrumentation skills or not. I don't have a time to teach him. Otherwise, he need to go to seniors and learn from them. Otherwise, he knows that one. That's very important. That's why industry experience or internships plays a role to getting into PhD. And also teaching experience also plays role, not that extent compared to industry experience of us internships. I feel we should in Indian education system in masters we should create a space of at least 2 months in the second year masters to promote our students to go to industries and do internships because that's create a huge connection between the student and that industry if in case you want to go to industry after this masters like direct communication and also let's create hands-on training if in case you can do PhD or any other work. So that's why I always say to my Sharman sir, so we need to create that gap of in the masters we need to create one junction of 2 to 3 months. The master student should find an internship and go to some industry. Like for an example, in Bangalore, Syngin, Biocon, Medridge, Cipla, they need to go there and do some industry training for 2 to 3 months, get a certificate. That plays a huge role to getting into not only PhD. If in case he go there, he already build a connection with the industry. He can directly go to job. Like for an example, our seniors here, they go to yeah, in the PhD one, they go to summer internship. They're gonna build a connection over there. They directly go to job after once they're done with their defense service and with their graduation. That's very important. We need to build that one, the internship program in the masters.
Did you face any challenges uh, while entering into a university like Indianapolis? Were there any challenges, or was it an easy task for you?
Challenges, like anyways, like being the guy from rural area, you need to be like one is money probably, but I think that's not a huge deal if in case you are working before getting into PhD. Like you are after masters, you work for 1 or 2 years, money that's not a problem. You can gonna spend like 2 to 3 lakhs on your application process, visa, and getting into US. But once you come here, you need to like depends on which research group you are in. If in case your research group, your professor is good, nothing to worry. There is no problem. That depends on the PhD like thing or problems, circumstances depends on professor and the research groups are your seniors, your lab mates you are with. Like they are good, okay, everything is fine. For an example, in our lab there is no Indians. I'm the only Indian fellow in our lab. Everyone is American. One Sri Lankan guy. There are like before like there are 6 Americans, including for Southern Americans. I'm the one Indian, one Sri Lankan. That's good. They're gonna treat me very well. My professor is very good. And also in other labs, there is an Indian professor who treats the Indian student in different way. That's what I'm telling. That's not depends on this case to case basis. Professor, you are like the group of individuals you are working with. Everything depends. That's what in my experience. I don't face any challenges, but I faced one challenge while passing my first qualifying exams. Here they do ACS exam initially, preliminary exam. That's like our NEET, otherwise CET type of exam in chemistry. High level chemistry, it is very hard to pass. They ask like different questions in terms of chemistry instrumentation. Then after that, it's okay for me. I'm doing good currently in terms of everything.
Okay, Varadaraj, we are uh, our session is coming to an end with respect to the time limit, whatever we had. If there are no questions, so let me conclude this session. On behalf of Prajna Foundation, I thank Varadaraj for giving his time in sharing all his experiences with respect to his journey from graduation at India to his doctoral studies abroad. I'm sure uh, this will help the students who are interested in doing research or higher studies in abroad. So you have highlighted about all the steps which are essential to be taken in this journey. Thank you so much, Varadaraj. Thank you again. We'll have
Thank you.
another meet, another session to discuss about your work there. So, how after joining Indiana Police University, how you started your work and how the work is going on. So, on this, we will have another session. So, I thank all the audience, also the viewers of this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.